Hi everyone, we are in another video of statistical analysis where we have been looking at bivariate data analysis, MS4. In this video, we're going to be talking about interpolation and extrapolation and what the two are. So interpolation just involves predicting values within a data set range. For example, if I had a graph or a scatter plot, as we have been calling them, and I had a line of best fit through here, and I had my values, my last value was here, and it was at 150, and at, let's just say 6. And I had my first value at a value of 4 and 120. If I was to predict the value that would be at 5 and 130, I would go up to where I meet the line, then I would go across until I reach my y-axis. And that would be predicting a value that we weren't given. We were only given 2 values. So I am predicting a value within the data set range, because my range will be in red. My range is from here to here. That was the data range that we were given. And I was predicting the value in yellow with when x equals 5. And I went up with my dotted line and across, and y we found was 130. So that's predicting a value within the range, and that's interpolation. Interpolation is predicting a value within a range. If we have a look at extrapolation, however, extrapolation is predicting a value that is outside the data range. So if I was to do another example, drew up my graph and my line of best fit, and I had 2 values again, one value at 4, one value at 6, and I decided to predict my value when x equals 8. My data range, once again, will be in red, was from this point to that point. And if I was to predict something at when x equals 8, I would be predicting outside my data range. So extrapolation is not accurate because you weren't given values within the range. You are predicting something outside the range, so you could be completely off because you're not sure, because the value was not within the range. So let's have a look at an example of this. We have 2 variables. We have arm span along our x-axis. Oops, let me just draw that on. Arm span along the x-axis and height along the y-axis. And we have a whole set of points with a line of best fit going through the middle of the point. And our first question is, what is the height when the arm span is 155 centimeters? So I'm going to go across to 155 centimeters for arm span. We know the arm span's on the x-axis, so I'll go across the x-axis and I'll go to 155, which would be halfway between 150 and 160. I would go up along that line until I came to a point, which was here, and I would go across to get 160 centimeters for height. And that would be question A. Question B, is this question using interpolation or extrapolation. So if I have a look, my data range I'm going to do in red was from here down to here, and the value I found was in yellow, was right there. So that is within our data range, which means it was interpolation. And question C, give an example of extrapolation for height and arm span. An example for height could be 200, and an example for arm span could also be 200, because the value of 200, which would be about here, if this arrow continued, would be outside the data range, and if I continued 200 up here, it would also be outside of my data range. So that would be my point there, and that is way outside my data range. So that would be an example of extrapolation for height and arm span. So just to recap, interpolation is within, and extrapolation is out.